Settling for norms reproves other forms of being. To settle for traditional gender norms limits identities to boxes and hides the messiness that comprises who we are. Through mixed media paintings, my work embodies two conflicting realities, one of culturally conditioned expectations and the other of boundless existence. My research has been focused on the critique of cultural conditioning and gender norms. I contrast social norms, ideas of femininity, and notions of the expectation with the reality of complex identities that exceed the boundaries of convention. These messy spaces are ones we find ourselves in. As children, we are instilled with society's expectations, but as we grow, move, and evolve in the world, our experiences have great influence on the frameworks of what spaces we occupy. Upbringing, media, and tradition initially frame the way we perceive the world, but by accepting regurgitated experiences passed down by generations, we fail to create spaces that one can exist beyond the boundaries of Western thinking. This body of work stems from my fascination with family photography dating back to the mid-20th century. These photographs were originally derived from my family's collection, but I quickly became captivated by collecting memories of others. Sifting through these photographs, I found common conventions of how women were depicted. Mothers, caretakers, brides were among the top depictions. I began to reflect on my experiences and the social expectations that were instilled through my upbringing, and realizing a disconnect. The photograph is an archival document, one that is said to be truthful. But the static nature and the anonymity of these people opened questions of their identity and their performance in the moment captured by the lens. The women are uniform, bound by the arrangements that they display. I found interest in these photos being taken out of their original context to refer to larger issues of Western heteronormative society. In contrast, the large figures are nude, fleshy, bold, and dominating the overall composition. Their nudity reflects on a rebirth, a sense of free will. I use self-referential imagery of my partner and I draw on my experiences coming to terms with being a queer woman and the disconnect between societal standards and who I am, the multifaceted identity or messy spaces that I occupy. These large, cumbersome figures in my paintings began as pressurized, confined by the interiors depicted in the photographic reference, but have recently expanded into creating spaces of their own. Though still misfitting, these figures navigate the complexities of morals and values from generations past and finding solace in existing. The photographs and the wallpaper I utilize in my work hold sentimental value. These memories that were once abandoned by their spaces are given new context through my work. When the photograph and the interior are met with the raw body language of the figure, these moments of sentimentality and nostalgia are suddenly shifted and reframed to disjunctive tension. The figures are painted in an awkward, naturalistic, uncomfortable way. Boundaries created by bold lines reflect the disconnect between the large figures and their environment. These spaces are not room-specific, but rather reflect on the interiority of architecture that should be reconfigured. My interest in creating messy, claustrophobic spaces stems from the discomfort from the spaces I occupy. Loud patterns, bold colors, and airbrush paint are aggressive in their nature, but find unity in existing together. The tensions between past and present ideologies are crucial in understanding the spaces we inhabit in the world. Acknowledging the differences we have and accepting them in their validity is needed now more than ever. Mess can be considered a negative term, but when reframing it to understand our identity, it's easy to see the beauty it inhabits. The act of messing up these photographs, interiors, my studio, and these figures refer to the overall search for an understanding of normalcy that deviates from traditional ideologies and reframes it within the context of understanding beauty and difference.